Hey guys, first things first, I want to apologise for the amount of time it's taken from the last video to this one. It wasn't intentional. I've been out trying to get new equipment, trying to make the videos better. You'd noticed in the last video that you could hear the key presses all the time and the microphone quality was terrible. It sounded like I was speaking into someone's anus and muffled. It was horrendous. Hopefully it's a lot better this time, and hopefully the tutorial quality in general is a lot better than this time. I'm going to try and move a bit faster pace this time, so hopefully you can bear with me as we go along with this. And the first thing we're going to do is going to do a quick cleanup of the code, not necessarily code, more the folder structure, to a more professional standard, more to what I would use in my day-to-day work. I'm not imposing this on you, I'm just suggesting that this is how you do it. This is completely optional and you can skip to the next part of the video if you want to. I'll leave a button to take you to the next part, which is, you can just ignore the whole folder structure. But anyway, if you're interested in a more professional folder structure and how to maintain your project as you go along, stick to this part and I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight these different things and we're going to delete them, but do not click move to trash, just remove the references for everything. So delete this, remove the references, and then you should eventually be left with just frameworks. Don't get rid of frameworks, leave that as it is. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our folder, into the news app folder, and you'll see it's all messy. It looked a bit more organized when it was in that Xcode bit, but it really isn't, so we need to clean it up in the actual folder. And what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 folders, essentially. We're going to get rid of this one was here from before. You won't have that folder. So we're going to create a source folder where all our source code will actually sit. We're going to create a library, and that will be for our assets like our images, our storyboards, etc, etc, and our assets. And we're going to create one last one called configuration, which won't have much use in this video. Maybe in a future video it may, because we may add different environments like a staging or a production environment, which I'll get onto later. So first things first is you're going to go into the source folder and you're going to create a core folder and you're going to create a home folder. I like to create a folder for each screen in the application. At the moment we only have one, which is a home screen, and we also have a core folder, which is where I basically put anything else that isn't a screen in an organized format. So we're going to go inside the home and we're going to create a views folder and we're going to create a models folder. And we'll get onto that later, but for now that the source folder is done. Library is fine as it is, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy this launch screen storyboard. We're going to back out, and then we're going to throw that into the library, and then we're going to get the XC assets folder, and we're going to also drop that into the library, and then you can delete this excess folder here. And then for configuration, we're going to throw info.plist in there. And that's going to sit in the configuration folder, and then you get these 3 source files and we're going to distribute these inside the source folder. So the app delegate is going to go in the core folder, these 2 are going to go in the home folder, go to the home folder, and home view goes in its own folder. I'm not asking you to understand this completely, I'm kind of just structuring the project now, and you'll see it a lot better when it's actually in the navigator for Xcode. So let's continue. I think we're almost done. Yep, we are done. So we're going to select these 3 folders. We're going to drag them in just underneath this news app, but above the frameworks, so it should fit in nicely in that little space. And we're just going to click finish, and there we go. We got the 3 folders, which is nice. If we go out of this tab and go back in, you'll see it's not understanding the info plist anywhere. So we're going to have to clean this up. So hopefully we should get a failure. There we go. We can't read the info plist file. You might actually get a choose info plist there. But I need to remove this from that, I believe. Remove that from there. I should be able to choose a different info plist folder, so hold on. I may have to restart Xcode. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we get to choose the info plist file. And I'm going to choose it from the configuration folder. And if we leave that tab and go back into that tab, you'll see that it's reloaded properly. And we should be fine for launch screen file. Yep, it's found that as well. We'll probably get another error or a few warnings at minimum when we start the project. Oh no, everything's good, we're good to go. That is the project restructured and it's nice and clean. And if you want to navigate to the home screen, you go to source home. The view controllers at the top, followed by models and views, and that's the view, and it's easy to navigate. So that's that section of the video done, and hopefully you understand the benefits. Maybe you don't yet. But if you're working in a team or if you plan to work with other people, having a clean project structure is vital, especially if you are using something like github.com or Git or source control in general. You're going to want to have a nice folder structure, and it's going to be a lot better for you in the long run. It makes your projects a lot easier to maintain. So yeah, just keep that in mind, and hopefully you didn't skip this part of the video, but if you did, fair enough, and we're going to get on to actually programming next. So I've noticed that where we got up to in the last video was we made the cells and we made the list scrollable, and so we're actually going to design these cells now and make them look a lot nicer. I've not actually got a design for the cell, so we're going to go along, like go with it like as we go along, I guess. And we're going to create the view in a different way actually, and you'll see this views folder. We're going to create a new folder called we'll call it cells, and then we'll just drag that under there and we'll put it in here. And you'll notice that last time we used SnapKit, but this time I'm not going to use SnapKit. The reason for that is because I want to show you guys different ways to make views. I know I do it programmatically, but that's my personal preference, and it's not fair to make you guys do it that way. So we're going to go through a different way of making it. I'm still not using storyboards. I'm going to use something called the zip, which is an Xcode interface builder file. So we are going to use interface builder to build this, and some of you might find it enjoyable, and others might just like doing it programmatically. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new file, and we're going to make a view file, which is a part of the zip family down here. So we'll create this view, and we'll call it the news cell. Fancy. Okay, cool. And I believe you can change the actual view, I believe. I can't remember how you actually do. Okay, guys. So yeah, I figured out what it is, and so yeah, we're gonna have to. You see this view here? We're gonna delete this, and we're actually gonna drag a table view cell from here in. So the way you do that is you just type table view, and then you just drag the cell into here, and then we've got a cell to work with. And I'm going to increase the size of it a little bit. That doesn't matter because it's going to be kind of dynamic in nature later on. And so I imagine we're going to want an image or a thumbnail for the news article. So we're going to drag a little image view in here. We're just going to resize it to more of a square, I guess. So there we go, and it's going to be kind of, that looks like the right size for it. We can change the height in here, I believe, or we can do it in here. It doesn't really make a difference, I believe. Yeah. So if I set this to 70, I set this to 70. I got this little screen by tapping this button down here, by the way. Second button from the right on the bottom toolbar. We're going to set the width and height to 70 and make sure these are checked. We're going to set this left constraint to 0, and we're going to click add free constraints. And you'll notice it's still red, and that's because we've set the left constraint, and we've set the width and height, but we've not actually given it a Y position, like we've not given it a vertical position yet. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to click the one that's third from the right, and these are alignment constraints, and we're going to vertically constrain it in the center, and we're going to add one constraint. And as you can see, that's where it should stay now, no matter what. So that's good. And then we're going to add probably a title, I imagine, for a news article. So for now, it can be simple, and we're just going to have maybe an image and a title. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to do this, and we're going to make it that big, and then we're going to get the left constraint and right constraint, and we're going to add those. We're going to add the vertical in container again, and as you can see, we got something cool there. We're going to give this is a demo article with a very long title with 2 lines. As you can see, if the article name was too long, it wouldn't go into 2 lines. And we're going to fix that by changing the number of lines property over here to 0. And then hopefully we should be able to also constrain the top and bottom parts. There we go. So then press this update frames button, and there you go. It'll automatically scale to the height of the title. So if that text changes while you're in the app, it will kind of accommodate it. We're going to make it bold, so you can play around with all these properties. So we're going to make that bold, and it looks a bit better, a bit more important, I guess. And there's a lot of properties you guys can play with. I mean, you can make it center aligned if you wanted to, or you can do whatever you want really. I'm going to keep it basic. I'm not going to go too much into it. And so yeah, we now have this cell. We're going to create a file to accommodate it. We're going to create a view file. We're still going to have to create the view file, and it's going to be called newscell.swift. And so we're going to import the UI kit. We're going to create the news cell, and it's going to be a UI table view cell. That's what it's going to inherit from. And there we go. So that's good. Yeah, I believe that's fine. And then we're going to go back to this file. We're going to go back to this file, and we're going to click this cell here, and then we're going to copy this class, and we're going to type news cell, and that just means it kind of inherits the code from here. So this and this are basically now linked. And now if I click this code file and I hold, I think it's Alt, sorry, and then click the zip file, you'll see that we get two screens. And that's perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to click this, we're going to click the image, hold control, and we're going to drag from the image into the Swift file, and you'll see that it's got like a little highlight that says insert outlet, and that's exactly what you want to do. You let go and you get this little prompt, and we're going to give this a name of thumbnail image. We'll just call it thumbnail view, I guess. That should be fine. There we go, looks a bit neater. And then we're going to get this label here, and we're going to do the same for the label. Oops, that was my bad. I'm going to do the same for the label underneath, and I'm going to call this article label. And there we go, that's a lot better now. That should work as it is, and we're going to do one more thing. We're going to create class func instance from nib. Oh, well, technically it's a zib, but for compatibility issues, you call it a nib because it used to be called a nib, and I like the name nib a lot more. So we're going to get UI view, UI table view cell, sorry. And I've got this code pasted from before. Oh, have I? No, I haven't. UI nib. Nib name is going to be what is it called? It's called the news cell. Nil.instantiate with nil option nil 0 as UI. Well, as news cell, I guess. Alright, so let's just get that done. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. That should work as is. You may actually not need to do this. This is just, I always add this method to any views I create using Storyboard. It's not a method I usually take. This is just a method that I think some of you guys will appreciate. You guys and girls will appreciate. So now we're going to go to some of the old code that we wrote, which is in the home view controller. And we've got all this stuff now. And this setup table view function is where we're going to do a bit of the work, and we're going to make this list of cells. We're going to turn it into the cell that you see on the right hand side there. And yeah, so that's what we're going to start off doing. So we're going to first of all register that cell. Well, there we go, that's even better. We're going to register the cell, which is a UI nib. This code likes to misbehave sometimes, please forgive me. UI nib, there we go. Right, that should be fine. And for now, I'm just going to call it a cell. Ignore this. And what that does is basically it kind of optimizes the table view to use that cell, because table views are inherently designed to optimize things. So if you should definitely include this line, and you'll need it if you do the following code, which is I'm going to let cell equals table view dot dq reusable cell identifier cell at index path as news cell, I believe, and article label dot text equals article index path dot row. Alright, so hopefully this will work. I'm not entirely sure if it will. Let me have a quick run of this and see if everything's going okay. Oh no, yeah, that works. That's perfect. That's fine. Okay, so we've actually got that cell showing now. Obviously, you're not seeing any image because we don't actually have any images at all. But if I just go to here for an example and set this to, I don't know, red, you'll see the actual cell being used. I just want to explain dead quickly what this DQ reusable cell method does, and the way table views work on iPhone and I think they kind of work on that on Android as well, is these cells are reused as you go down and up. Like if you had an infinite list of items, obviously you'd run out of memory quite fast if you were just scrolling down and it was keeping everything in the memory. So the way it works is, like, you see this article 0 at the top over here. When that disappears from the view, like the article 6 cell will actually be the article 0 cell reused, and that's the way it does it. It's very smart. And you're essentially saying register that new cell for the reuse identifier, which is, we're just using a cell now, and later on you're getting that cell with that reusable cell identifier, which is cell, so it knows it's looking for this new cell, and then you just cast it to the new cell. You make sure that you know it's a new cell. And we're actually going to change this, where this cell is coming from now, this identifier. We're going to go to new cell.swift, and we're going to do a static let k-cell identifier equals new cell. This is just my format for doing it, but what it means is if we go to this home view controller again, we should be able to just do new cell dot k-cell identifier. We can just replace the cell with this instead. And what that means is if you use this cell in multiple places or anything, if you want to change it, you just have to change this one string, and that's it. So it's a lot cleaner that way and a lot more maintainable. So the next thing, I guess, is we're actually going to start pulling data. I feel like it's going to drag on as a tutorial again. I don't seem to be able to be capable of making short tutorials. I don't know why, but hey. So we've got an API key, if I recall, and I don't know where I put it. I think I put it in the app delegate. Yeah, so we got this API key from the news website we were at before, which is here, I believe. Which is here. And yeah, so we're going to use this and we're going to start getting the articles, which should be quite fun. So I'm going to go back to home, and hopefully we've got documentation. There we go, documentation. I believe it's a get endpoint, which is API key, that's what you need. Sort by top. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be quite an easy response, I believe. Sort by top, API key equals that, and sort equals that. Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, so we're going to get started, and we're going to actually use CocoaPods. Actually, should we? Oh, I guess I've got to go ahead and do that. Just to teach you guys the different source controls you can use. I've used Cartridge, I'm going to use CocoaPods as well. There's nothing wrong with interchanging them at all, really. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Sorry about that, that's in the way. So yeah, when it comes to CocoaPods, I'm not going to teach you how to get CocoaPods. Basically, if you go to cocoapods.org, there will be a tutorial here telling you how to install CocoaPods and how to get it. But what I will teach you how to do is how to install AlamoFire, which is a library that we're going to use for the networking, which is quite a crucial big library that a lot of iOS apps use. It's a very well tested library. It's got a lot of stars on GitHub. So yeah, we're gonna view the install instructions for this, and we'll go through that together. So you got the CocoaPods here, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the root of the folder. Like I said, I have Cartridge in the next level. CocoaPods you should always do at the top level. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna do nano pod file. I'm just gonna copy this from the GitHub repo. It's a little bit faster. And the target name that we've got, I believe, is just news app. I'll double check that now before we do this, though. Okay, so we've got, what's our, did I close this? I didn't mean to close it, did I? Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, it's just news app with no spaces. Okay. Okay, so now if I do that, and then just do pod install once you've actually installed CocoaPods. And maybe not then. Maybe it doesn't want to do this. Oh, I typed it wrong. Okay. Pod install. My bad. As you can see, it's quickly done. And previously we were just opening a file called .exe project, but CocoaPod kind of forces you to have a workspace, which is why I don't tend to use it, because I don't like being forced to use this workspace. But anyway, open up Xcode and start the build, and you have to wait now for the build to complete, like, because it's got to build all the previous frameworks, but we should be fine, and it shouldn't take too long. As you can see, we've got Alamo Fire in the app now, which is good. We can start using it. So yeah, let's get cracking. So in this source, like I said before, I have this core folder. We're going to go in here and we're going to create a web service folder. I'm going to drag that in there, and there it goes. We're going to create a new file. I'm going to call it news web service. There we go. Import Alamo Fire. Class news web service. Okay, so that's that, and that's all we need from it really. And we need to make a function, a static function called make request, I guess. Cool, and then we're gonna have a, I guess this is a bit, I'll go into the home view controller first and tell you what we're gonna do. So in here, we're gonna have a list of articles that are saved to memory. So we're gonna make that network request, and then we're gonna get that data. We're gonna convert that data into articles, and then those articles, we're gonna have a list of those articles, and that's what the table here is gonna show. That's where we're going to get our data from. For now, we're not going to care about caching or saving anything to the phone. We're not going to do offline just yet. We can focus on that later if need be. So let's get started. Okay. So we're going to need articles, web service, show and finder. Poof, there we go. We're going to create a folder called models here. We're going to throw that into the web service. I'm sorry if this seems very hectic, but we're going to need another framework as well. It's called Object Mapper. And yep, this is it. It should also have pod install somewhere. It should also give you the install instructions. There we go. And you'll literally just copy that into your pod file, which you created before. Oops, sorry for the beeps. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweet. Alright, so pod install again. Sorry about that. Okay, cool. Sweet. And then we'll build this project, make sure it still builds. Gonna navigate while we do this to our models, and we're gonna create a new file in here, and we're gonna call it article. Sweet. Import object mapper. Oops, sorry. Object mapper. There we go. And we're going to make a new class called article. It's going to be mappable. There we go. And we're going to have, if we look at this, you'll see that it returns an array of articles, or a list of articles that have an author that we're not interested in, a title, a description, and a URL to the image, which is, a lot of these are going to be important. We're going to ignore the description for now. I'm going to actually let you guys figure out how to do all that. But when it comes to showing what we need to, so we're going to have the article name here, the title here, we're going to have the image there, and we're going to have when you tap it, it'll go to the URL. So that's how that's going to work. So first things first is in here, we're going to create a var, and we're going to call it title. It's going to be a type string. That should be okay. We're going to make it a dynamic var equals blah. Alright, so that's how that's going to work. Dynamic var. We're going to have a image URL, which is going to be a string, and we're going to have, last but not least, a actual URL for it. We'll just call it URL, I guess. and that will be a string. It's going to complain about it not conforming to mappable, yeah, which we've got a function that we need to override called map. Mapping, I believe, yeah. Get rid of the mutating, you don't actually need that, you can ignore that for now. What we're going to do is we're going to type title, then we're going to do an arrow, map, it's called title in there. Okay, so this line of code here is saying, like, this is our title, this is the title that we defined, and we want to like pipeline whatever we get from the JSON with the name title into our title, and that's all it means. So as you can see here, it returns title, and we're just pushing that into our title. So for image URL, we want to push in the URL to image response we get, and then the URL, we just want to push in the map URL. And this is case sensitive to make sure that you map it exactly with this. Okay, and then I believe we're going to need the init method. Yeah, init map super.init. I believe that should work. There we go. No, yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Ugh. Oh, don't do this to me. Yeah, just keep on fucking hit and missing basically until that bit works. But yeah, that's the correct code to get it working. So yeah, now we have the article model ready to do. And so now we need to write the code to actually make that request to the news API. And if we go to the Alamo fire on Git, it should give us a simple line of code really to be able to make the request. Like it literally is that simple. But of course, we may just do this, to be honest. We can copy this line of code here and we can work from that. So yeah, for now we're going to ignore this file. This file isn't important for now because I just want to make sure we actually get results. I feel like I'm over-engineering it here for you guys. So as you can see on this view.did_load thing here, on this method, after we've set up the table view and whatnot, what we want to do is we actually want to make that network request. So I'm going to copy that code. I'm going to make sure I've imported AlamoKit. There we go. And this code should start to work. I believe there is something in here about query parameters as well. Right, yeah, so we need to do that. Hold on. Beautiful. Actually, let me steal that line of code. You'll find yourself doing that a lot as a developer as well. You'll steal a lot of code. You'll just copy a lot of code from different things. But anyway, let me full screen this so you guys can see everything a lot better. Okay, so this is all going to work now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to actually get the URL from here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do articles, I believe. Yeah, I don't care about source. Why source is... Ugh. I shouldn't have to do that, surely. Oh, you've got to actually use a source, have you? Interesting, interesting. Not cool. Ooh. I don't really want to do that, to be honest. But essentially, yeah, I guess we're only getting the trending news from one source, which is kind of lame. Not cool. But anyway, yeah, we'll go to we'll find a good provider. Let's have a look at a decent provider. We'll get the latest BBC news, I guess. Generic, but why not? BBC-News is the one we're going to go for. So I'm going to copy this. So let's copy that and let's put it in here. Now, oh, my bad. Okay, so we got that now. We're actually not going to do this way. We're going to actually just include some parameters, which is going to be a dictionary of stuff. Let's try and that should be a URL, I think. Query string. There we go. Okay, sorry about this, but as you can see, this is kind of a long string somewhat, and we're going to cut that down. We're going to create a dictionary called params, and that's going to contain a few things. It's going to have a source, which is going to be BBC-news, our API key, which is that, and then we're going to have the sort by latest. Okay, so that's going to be that way, and then parameters is just going to be params, and that should work. Maybe I need to make sure it is. Okay, hold on. Interesting. But anyway, for now we can leave that as is, and we've got the app delegate where we got our API key. We can now delete that comment and that one for that matter. There we go, and then we've got the home view controller, and we've got params here. API key goes in there. Nice. But Alamo seems to have given us an outdated link by the looks of it, which is very strange. Odd. Okay guys, figured out what the problem was. I was simply using I was using the wrong encoding. You have to change this to URL encoding and instantiate it. It was a new addition added to Alamo Fire that was kind of silent. So yeah, I've changed the news source as well to Daily Mail because I've realized that BBC and News do not have like a recent, so you're not allowed to order it by that way. So we've just gone with Daily Mail instead. Not that I like the Daily Mail, I'm not a fan of the Daily Mail, but you know, why not? So yeah, we're going to crack on and we're going to convert anything that comes through this with, so first of all we're going to run this and we're going to see the response come through the console, which is quite good. So here we go. I'm going to move back and there you can see we've got all these responses. We've got a list of articles here. So that's good. Yep. Nice. Alright, so what we need to do is, as I believe it's to string to any. Alright, so we're going to cast that to a dictionary, so we can much easily access it a lot easier, should I say. So hopefully it should all remain the same and it should still print. Lovely, there we go, even better. Alright, so this is an interesting part. And we're going to get the we're going to call that response JSON. We're going to go through all those articles, and we're going to create actual models from them. So here we go. We're going to do if let response JSON articles. Oh, sorry. Article array equals as array of string any. Alright, now this is going to look messy to you, and there is a reason for that, and we're going to make sure it's clean in a minute. Let me just ensure that compiles. No, it does not, because continuous only. Okay, whoops, yep, I forgot about that. But yeah, that should work now. That should compile. Okay, sweet. So yeah, as you notice, we're doing this like string colon any multiple times, and basically what we're doing is we're casting these things as a dictionary. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go to we're going to go to the very top outside of the class, and we're going to do something called a type alias, and we're going to say JSON dict, and we're going to just say it's equal to a string or a dictionary of any. Alright, so this is going to make your code a lot neater, okay? And anytime you're messing with web responses and stuff, you're probably most likely going to be getting responses like this, which is a dictionary of a string like mapped to an any object. And so what we're going to do is we're going to copy this type alias, and we're going to replace any of these with that. And I don't know about you, but I think that looks a lot neater. We know that we're messing with JSON dictionaries, it just makes everything a lot nicer to me. And so we're going to do for article in article array, I need to import object mapper as well. There we go. Sweet. Oh no, that should be fine actually. Yeah. So article should be a JSON dictionary. Okay, nice. Object mapper. Don't. Alright, I've not actually used object mapper in a while, so we're gonna have to check the syntax of this. So we're gonna go back to the object mapper docs. I believe it's quite a simple call, it's not difficult at all. So if I go to okay, so yeah, it's just mapper, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to copy a generic line of code because I've got the gist of it from here, I believe. Mapper article, which is our model, and we're going to map that from the article data. So I'm going to call this article data instead, and we're going to do this. We're going to let the article equals that. Then we've got, we'll make an array up here, articles, and we're going to have an array of articles. We're just going to make that empty for now. And then what we're going to do, what's it saying? Hold on. Sorry, that's my bad. Article data. There we go. And that should hopefully create an actual article. Yep. And then we're going to do articles dot append our article. And just for clarity's sake, I'm going to append a self dot to this. So that's the actual articles array up here. That should hopefully work. God, else. Continue. Okay, so what this code here does is it just says make sure that we have an article, make sure that this works basically, and if it doesn't, we're just going to go to the next one. That's basically how it's going to work. The article array equals, but it is use, isn't it? Alright, so we're going to try building that, and if that builds, that's really good. Okay, beautiful. If we run this, we shouldn't have any problems. Tutorial's almost over actually, because we've almost got all the data we need. And we'll have a list of articles in a minute, which is good. So if I go back to here, we're almost done, just bear with me. Okay, yeah, it didn't crash, so that's really good news. And we're going to go to this number of row in section, and we're going to return our articles.count. Beautiful. We're going to get the self row index path here, and we're going to do let article equals articles index path dot row cell.article label.text equals article.title. Nice. I don't know if you can actually load from. Can you set an image from URL bit like that? I don't think you can you? Yeah, we're gonna have to use a library to set the image, but we'll use a library called Kingfisher. It's a really good image caching library. It's really easy to use and it's helpful. Alright, so but the cool thing here is once we've went through this loop here, blah blah blah, right after this, after the whole thing's complete, what we want to do is we want to refresh that table view. We want to make it reload the data that it's got. So yeah, that should all be good now. It should actually work really well. I think we should actually have a list of the articles and their names. We'll get the thumbnails next, and then we'll just make it open the URL, and we should be good from there. And the next tutorial, we'll clean it up. We'll make it look a little bit better. We'll work on it. But there we go. Look at that. You've got your list of news articles here, which is great. Making good progress. Taking a lot of time. I'm trying to explain what I'm doing along the way. Like if I'm not explaining things well, or if you guys need any more clarification, if you comment, make sure to leave a message and I will reply to it, and I'll help you guys out if there's anything that you don't understand or anything that you need to know more about. I'll clarify it as fast as I can. But essentially this code here, we'll go through this now dead quick. It gets the response JSON. JSON is just a format that the API is responding with. So if we go over here and we go back to here where it's actually giving us a response, like this is JSON. And basically inside the app we're converting this into article objects. Each of these are being converted into an article object that we've got the title, URL, and URL to image from. We're going to work with this URL to image in a moment to load it. And this code is all done in this mapper here. This is a library that converts JSON into your article. If we go in here, the way it does that is this mapping function we did before. We say we want the title from the JSON in our title. We want the URL to image from the JSON into our image URL, etc., etc. And all the article images kind of populated using this mapping method. Very helpful library. The next one we're going to do, I'm moving on quite quick, running out of time. It's been dragging on this, I think, so I'm going to try and finish it off fast. Kingfisher library, iOS. Okay, Kingfisher. Let URL equal that. Yeah, okay, it's a very simple one. It's Cocoa Pods. They're not actually gotten into there. They do. Okay, fair enough. We can just copy the pod thing. So you get that. We're gonna pod file. And we're gonna pod Kingfisher into there. Tab 1, 2, 3, 4. Exit, and there we go. And then I'm gonna pod install again. Just gonna install that. Voila. Okay. So now, if I build this project, that's Command B, we should be able to use Kingfisher. I'm just going to import Kingfisher, getting it ready. There we go. And then I should be able to. Oh, don't do this to me. There we go. Import Kingfisher lowercase f. Whoa. Yes. So now we should be able to just do this very easily. So it's cell.thumbnailview.kf say image with resource URL string article dot image URL. Alright, so I'm just going to make sure this slider code works before I explain what it's doing fully. Oh no, okay, so that's not working. We've got a problem here. So I'm going to let URL equals URL string article dot image URL. If we can get the URL, then we will set the URL. We'll get rid of this code here. Just going to quickly do some debugging. So we're going to print out the image URL that we have. Maybe I've not done it right, maybe we've missed out a character because I'm a wee bit tired, so could be on me there. URL to image, and I think that is what they're returning, so I'm not wrong. Yeah, URL to image. Interesting. Oh, these are HTTPS. Okay, I think I've figured out the issue there. Or maybe I haven't. Who knows? Oh no, we definitely got the images. Aha, okay, yeah, that's why. I figured it out. So we're going to have to bypass the app transport security because some of the images here aren't HTTPS. So iOS instantly blocks anything you do that's not HTTPS anymore. Okay, so we're going to do a quick bypass of that. I don't recommend you do this in any production apps at all. Bypass. So boom, 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 boom. There we go, I think. And someone should have given the code. There we go. So I'm going to copy this. Oh no, there we go. I'll copy this one. This is a lazy option, like I said. You should probably follow other people's advice if you are not using HTTP. But I urge you to use HTTPS whenever you actually can. If you're using your own APIs, etc., etc. But for this API, it's unavoidable. I really should be using this and just solving it using certain subdomains or domains, but we'll figure that out later. So news app, configuration, info.plist. I'm going to right click open as source code, and then I'm going to go to under this array bit here, and I'm going to paste in that key. And then if I run it again, we should be a go. Hey, there we go, look at that, brilliant. Now we've got the images as well. We can make these look a bit better in the future, but for now we've actually loaded the articles, which is good. Now we just need to actually load the URLs, and that's quite a simple task, which is fortunate. So there we go, blah blah blah. Now you'll see this here, did select row index path. We're going to delete the line of code we did last time, and what we're going to do is we're going to do table view dot deselect row index path true, and what that does is it just makes sure that once you actually press it, it kind of has an animation of unpressing rather than just sticking pressed, which isn't what you want. So what we're going to do is open URL. We're going to get the article that was pressed by doing articles index path.row, and then we're going to if let URL equals article dot URL. Oh no, my bad. Article.url. Okay, if we have a URL attached to the article, then that is the URL that we will load from the application. And I believe it's as simple as that. Let's give that a run, and hopefully it works. And there you go. You've essentially got a news app that works now. So yeah, voila. And there you go. So that's our basic little application. I mean, it's not the best it can be. There's a lot of things that we need to change and do, which we can handle in the future. For example, if you're making your own news application, you don't want it to open out to another app. You kind of want it to load inside your app. So that's what we're going to focus on next time, possibly. As well as maybe being able to get different news article sources. I might task you guys to have a little explore with how this is all working, and maybe have a description underneath that instead. A hint for you guys, if you want to do that, would be inside this file. I'd urge you make another label that's not bold. Mess around with the constraints, try and make it work. And then what you'd want to do after that is you would want to just mess around inside this table delegate down here and data source, and you'd probably want to set the description inside here. You'd want to make sure that the model that you created before, you'd want to make sure this has a description in it and that it maps from the JSON. There's a bit of work to do, but you've got the framework there now to start building upon your own if you wanted to. Starting exploring it a little more, seeing what you can make from it. So I'm excited to see what you guys can actually do. So hopefully this video was a little bit better in terms of the quality and the content itself. I mean, it's taken a while to get through this one. Granted, I will actually be editing this video and removing a few parts where, you know, maybe it took me a while to figure something out. It's 2 AM where I am, so it's a bit tired. I just felt like I needed to get this out the door for you guys. It's been a long time. So yeah, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment if it can help you out, and I'll catch you guys next time.